Hey guys, what is up? My name is Megan and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe, and welcome to today's video, which is part 1 of yet another book unhaul. If you've been here before, you know that like 6 months to a year ago, I did like the biggest unhaul of my life, where I think I unhauled like 500 books total. We are reducing the amount of books we have in this household, and this is kind of like a continuation of that project. I'm trying to reduce everything I own because I feel like my environment is cluttered and I don't work well that way. So in this book unhaul, we have books that I read and no longer care for, books I tried and didn't like, books I know I'm never gonna read, and all of these books are either going to be sold or donated to other people who read, so I don't feel bad. I have encouraged authors. Most of the books I buy are secondhand, and I have never seen an issue with unhauling. I just think it's healthy. You shouldn't have such a deep attachment to material things that you cannot get rid of them when they no longer serve a purpose. I'm also trying to free up some space on the shelves to rearrange and be able to have books facing out, and we're also rearranging from a rainbow to like by author and genre. So that will be coming as a project probably in the next few weeks as I'm on vacation, but first we need to get rid of books, and so that's what we're doing today. For the video purpose of not it being an hour long, I'm going to separate this into 2 parts. They will both most likely be up in the same week. So, without further ado, let's hop on in. First, I feel like this little first stack is hitting us with a bang already, because the first book I am unhauling is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This is not a book that I have enjoyed. When I read it, I often think like, oh, I should probably reread this, but this was not my favorite Emily Henry. All of her other books that are adult are 5 stars for me. I just don't have any interest in the way this one was told for some reason, and I do think it's still in like brand new condition, and someone else can enjoy it more than I will. So even though at first I had the mindset of like, but if I really love an author, I should collect all their works, that is false. I'm gonna keep the things I love on my bookshelf and, you know, spread the love of Emily Henry elsewhere. You don't need to keep all of an author's books if you enjoy the author, but not all their books. Then 2 other books I have are Falling for Your Fake Fiancé and Falling for Your Enemy by Emma St. Clair. These are books that I had read on my Kindle and wanted as like physical books, but through the years I realized that these are not all-time favorites, and although I really enjoyed them, and I think if you're looking for closed-door romances, these are great, and the author in general does fake closed-door romances really well. My favorite is Falling for Your Fake Fiancé, but I ultimately think someone else can benefit from these books. Again, indie books are often more costly, so I'm trying to get these in the hands of people who enjoy. Another book I am unhauling, which might be a shock, is Lucky Hit by Hannah Cohen, and this I'm unhauling simply because I have other versions, special editions, that I don't care to read from. Like, I have another paperback edition, I believe from cover to cover, that I'm like, it's fine if I read from it, so I don't need a million copies. So we're not hoarding, we're not keeping multiple copies of books just for the sake of it, so this one is going. Then we have some books I'm unsure on whether or not I actually want to unhaul, but it's a maybe pile, but I'm still including them in here because I really don't know, and that is the Bergman Brothers series by Chloe Leese. As I have said time and time again, I am leaning towards indie more than I do traditionally published books, and I know these were originally indie, but I don't know if I'm going to love them. Please convince me to keep these, because I do think, like, looking at the covers and hearing everybody talk about them, that they could be a really good vibe. And originally I had purchased the first book to read to decide if I wanted the Illumicrate editions that are beautiful, but I still haven't read it, and every time I look at them I'm like not itching to pick them up. But these are definitely maybes, so if you know me as a reader, if you read romance and think I would enjoy these, please let me know. I then have In Too Deep by Julie Olivia. This is a book I've had on my TBR for such a long time, and again, It's not that I don't want to read it or that I don't think I would enjoy it. I just never pick it up. I think I've had this on my shelves for like a year and a half to 2 years, and I'm like, at what point do I stop justifying having a book on my shelves that is unread when I've had it for that long? I do think it would be interesting. I think this is dual perspective. It has dogs. Like, I am still on the fence about this, but again, unless I'm like convinced to pick it up, I don't know if I will. So this is also in the maybe pile. Then, speaking of books I've had on my TBR for years, and again, something listen, this is an unhaul and an asking for advice. Some I'm sure I'm unhauling, some not. Candy Steiner is an author I really enjoy. However, I've had this book for years and years. When, I think 2019, when this released, I got it. It's 2024 and I haven't read it. I feel like this is like me gaslighting myself into unhauling books. Why I have not read this, I don't know. Is this dual perspective? Nuts. It is dual perspective. Again, let a girl know. Do I keep? Do I toss? New concept for this video. One I know I am unhauling is Make Me Yours by Melanie Harlow, because this is not the edition I want. I am trying to sell this for like half of what it's worth so that I can take money and buy the new editions of these books, which are illustrated covers, because I want them all to match, especially because of the way I'm rearranging my shelves. So this is more of a like book aesthetic thing, but also because I do think someone else will enjoy this, and it's been sitting on my shelf for a while. This is a brother's best friend, hot single dad, next door neighbor kind of thing, so I know I'm gonna love it. I hate the cover of this, and I just want the illustrated ones, so I don't have the entire series yet, so I think it's time to like make the switch and commit to the illustrated covers. They're more my vibe. Another book I actually tried and decided to DNF, I think this is in my books with self-destruct, I think. I will leave that video up in the cards if you don't know what I'm talking about. I think Lucy Score for me was a one-hit wonder, because I read By a Thread by her, which is as chunky as this. Absolutely loved it, read it very quickly, and then every other time I've tried to read one of her books, I've DNF'd. So I think the wise thing to do for now is just to give up on Lucy Score. We'll give her a couple of years and maybe revisit, but for now, I'm not gonna own any of her books. Another book I'm super disappointed in unhauling because I had really, really high hopes is Wild by Michaela Smeltzer. This is a book that one was super hard to find, and I wanted it because it's a like rockstar romance, and I eat those up like candy. I love rockstar romances. However, again, I have read other books by this author, and after purchasing this, and ended up not vibing with her at all. And so this is a question of, do you guys think the writing is different enough that I would like Wild, or because I just don't tend to love this author, I should just give it up? So I guess this is another maybe, but leaning more towards unhauling. Another book which I'm unhauling and will probably surprise some people is Blind Pass by Tegan Hunter. This is the Hello Lovely box edition, so I do want to try to sell to get a little bit of my money back. It is also signed. I don't like Tegan Hunter, I think, is my conclusion. The only other book I have by her that I do want to give a shot is Neutral Zone, because the tropes in there are like my absolute favorites. I've read some other of her books, and I just have DNF'd over and over again. The writing, the characters seem odd to me. I'm never super invested in her stories, which is unfortunate. This one is like a Grumpy Sunshine Marriage of Convenience hockey vibes, so again, I'm sure a lot of people would enjoy this, but I'm struggling with the author's writing, so this is more of a sure unhaul. This book is also getting unhauled. It is Only for the Weak by Natasha Bishop. This was also in a Hello Lovely box, and I never wanted this book. I've tried to sell it numerous times. Nobody wants this book. Everybody was getting rid of this book. So it was very hard to try to resell. I even at like $10, nobody wanted this, which is way under the value of the subscription. Not my vibe. I don't care for it. No shade to anyone. I just would never have picked it up by myself, which is the danger with book boxes. Then we have Lyrics for a Small Town by Abby Glines, because I am simply over my Abby Glines era of life. I loved Breathe by her, and I think it's Brothers South of Mason-Dixon. Those are my two favorites by Abby Glines, but again, I'm over this author. I'm over the kind of concepts she does over and over again, so we're getting rid. One that like makes me kind of sad because I really loved, but again, never revisit, so like what's the use, is The Upside of Falling by Alex Light. I have loved this young adult book. I raved about it a lot on my channel when I read it. It was just, it hits all the vibes that I look for in a YA. Kind of reminds me of Casey West, of a lot of my favorite authors. I love the story. It was very typical, like the nerd and the jock, fake dating. But again, I'm never going to revisit this, so this was nostalgic. I kept it from so many unhauls, but I always stared at it, and I think now is the time, just because I'm never going to reread it, and I'm not going to recommend it a lot on my channel because that's not my target audience. That's not necessarily the kind of books I recommend anymore. But just know, if you're looking for a YA book, or someone in your life reads YA, you gotta get them this. I loved it. And another book I'm giving up on, which is YA, is The Secret Recipe for Moving On, because again, I think I like my YA now more in the... Casey West for me is a classic author just because I love everything she does, but is she like the best YA author? Probably not. I really love Nina Moreno, and what is the author? The author of Ruby Ramos's Recipe for Success. Jessica Para, I believe is her name. Those authors I can get behind because they do the verge between young adult and new adult so incredibly well, and I just love their books, and so those are the kind of YA books I don't mind reading. But this is a little bit on the younger YA spectrum, and it's, again, not for me. I'm almost 30, and I'm starting to feel like my interest in YA is very much shifting. The next books are all going to the same person who bought kind of this lot of books from me, so they are being unhauled. The first book is To Love, Jason Thorne by Ella Mays. This is a book I purchased a few years ago, and I still haven't read it, and I don't think Ella Mays is for me. I've tried dipping in and out of a few of her works before, and I just can't do it, so we're unhauling pretty much all of her books. Then another author I tried, which I thought I would really enjoy but didn't, is Olivia Halley. I think it might just be the case of this series. I think she has other books that I would be willing to give a try, but I just didn't jive with these in particular, which is a Brothers of Paradise series. I have Dark Eyed Devil and Small Town Hero. Then we have Sweet Hand by Angie Peltier, which was very popular a couple years back. I purchased this, never read it. It's been sitting on my shelf for, I'm assuming, 2 to 3 years now. It's not gonna happen. I just know it won't. I am kind of over this era, so it's leaving. Another book I'm unhauling is Loathe to Love You by Ali Hazelwood. This is her collection of novellas. I've read them, very much enjoyed them, but don't see the purpose in keeping these because I will not be revisiting them, and if I do, I will do it via Kindle, which is how I read them in the first place. Then we have this copy of In a Jam by Kate Canterbury, because I did get the Hello Lovely box copy of In a Jam, and so I will not, again, be keeping 2 copies of these, especially because I'm also considering getting the Eternal Embers version, so I do not need a gazillion versions of this book, though I highly recommend this book. Just saying. Loved it. We also have Black Ties and White Lies by Kat Singleton. Kat Singleton, every time I think of her, I am unsure of what to do, because I loved the first book I read by her and really much disliked the second book. I've had this on my shelf for over a year, and every time I look at it, I'm like, absolutely not. And I did purchase this before knowing that I disliked her second book. I was going all in, like 5-star prediction, and I don't think it's gonna happen. We have Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas, because I am not gonna read the paperbacks. I'm gonna collect the hardback editions of these so that I can purchase some alternate dust jackets, because every edition of this book is ugly, and I want to display them on my shelves. This is it is not it. And then Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, because I am done with Christina Lauren. I think I'm never gonna, never say never, but for now do not envision myself buying another one of their books. I am super disappointed by their recent releases. I think the Unhoneymooners is the last book by them I enjoyed. So we're moving on to bigger and better things. I know this one will break a lot of people's hearts because I feel like it's a fan favorite. It's an older one of their books, but I just can't bring myself to read any of the books they've written for at least a couple years, I believe. Haven't picked up any of their new releases this year, so we're giving it a break. We have another huge stack that has been sold already, so I'm not keeping any of these. The first one is a surprising one. It is Body Check by Marie-Louise. This is a... what edition is this? I don't remember, but it is signed, and unfortunately I tried. Did I give it my whole all? No, but I tried it and did not love it, so it's going to another home. A book I haven't read is The Enforcer by Avery Keelan. I want my edition to match her new editions of Offside and Shutout because there's, like, again, illustrated covers, so I'm selling this, and with the money I make back, we'll be purchasing the new copy. Because I do think Avery Keelan is going to be a fave. Speaking of favorites, I'm selling these editions of the Campus Wallflower series because I have the Hello Lovely box, and I have a lot of Rebecca Genchak on my shelves right now. I don't need these. These are out of print, these specific covers, but again, I read the first book, but I will read the rest with my Hello Lovely box editions. I don't care if I tab them. I don't annotate, but I will tab. So there's no use in getting two of the same books on my shelves again. So somebody else is going to read them and love this iconic series. Another book I'm kind of shocked that I'm unhauling is Rhythm Chord and Malikin by Mario Zapata. I am unhauling this because I have had this on my shelf for years, again when I was trying to find Rockstar romances, and I have never picked it up. I never will. I just know, and if not, I can read it on Kindle again. So taking up space for nothing. We have Famine by Laura Talassa, which is the book 3 in the Four Horsemen series. I had purchased this with the intention of trying to find the out-of-print covers for the rest of the series. Never have, and I have also sort of lost interest in the series, so I'm not going to go on a manhunt to try to find the matching covers, so we're just going to move on. Throne of Glass, already explained with Crown of Midnight. By a Thread by Lucy Score. As you can see, like, this one is pretty well tabbed. I do need to remove the tabs before I sell it, but I read and really enjoyed, but as I said, don't really love Lucy Score anymore, and I'm never gonna reread this brick, so we're gonna share the love. Another author which I'm kind of falling out of love with is Kendall Ryan, and so I have sold to the person I'm selling these to a lot of her other books because she's really in her Kendall Ryan era, and I love that for her. So we have the Hookup Handbook and the Forever Formula, which I think are the last two books I owned by her that I'm not sure I kept any, actually. I think I might have sold this young woman all of the other books. Loved Kendall Ryan. She feels very basic now. Don't think that as bad. I just mean her stories are kind of very similar to one another, and that's not exactly what I'm looking for now. We have the indie version of the Off Limits Rule by Sarah Adams because it was picked up by the publisher. I got The Match, which is the first book in this series, which I think is like the Charleston series, traditionally published, and so we're not just going to vibe with one indie published books in my Sarah Adams series. We also have Vacation Wars by Megan Quinn. I tried reading this book so many times. It just, I'm not driving with it, so I'm not even going to try again. We also have So Not Meant to Be and A Long Time Coming by Megan Quinn in these beautiful indie editions. I'm not going to sell a limb to get the first one in the same editions, and when I tried purchasing it off on Amazon before it changed covers, the book was like this big. It wasn't going to happen, so again I'm going to take the funds from selling these books to buy the new covers, which I do enjoy. So I'm not saying no to the series, I'm just saying no to these covers. And the last book from this pile is In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune, the Fairy Loot edition, which was one of the first books I purchased when I started my special edition collecting. I tried to read it, did not like it. It's beautiful from the outside, did not jive with this one for some reason. And so I'm selling this for like way below cost to this person. I think I'm selling it for like $30 less than what I paid. So it's a good deal. She's gonna love it, I hope. I'm not even sad to get this to someone else because, again, I've gone so far with special edition collecting and realizing what it is I want to collect that this doesn't really fit in my collection, and I'm not going to keep a special edition just for the sake of it being pretty if I don't like the book. We'll do 3 last books in this part 1 unhauled, and you'll have to come back to part 2 to see what else I unhauled. First is Do No Harm by Jack Jordan. I just lost interest in this. This is 100% me and not the book. I thought it was going to be super interesting, but again, I am very much falling out of love with most mysteries and thrillers. I don't know what is happening to me. They're just not really my thing anymore. I think middle grade and romance, specific kind of romance, has taken over my life. This is not it, unfortunately. Things We Do in the Dark, again, I tried to like read it, tried to pick it up, just have no will for thrillers anymore. And Strangers on a Beach, I'm unhauling for the same reason. There are more thrillers in the next part of this unhaul. Trust me, there are more. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Do let me know, let a girl know about these books. So we have the 2 Chloe Lease books, In Too Deep by Julie Olivia, Manhattan by Candy Steiner, Wild by Michaela Smeltzer, and no, that's not in the good pile. So let me know what of these 5 books I should keep. Do I unhaul them all? What should I do? Please do let me know, and I'll see you very soon with part 2 of this unhaul. Bye guys, happy reading.